What's up, guys? Bri2J back with a brand new Bri2J Presents, and today I'm presenting to you the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman from Detective Comics 1000 and Batman from Batman the Animated Series. I picked these figures up about a week before New York Toy Fair, and because Toy Fair was exhausting, I'm just now getting to reviewing these figures, but I have been posing them around a lot, and I really like them. So with that being said, let's take a closer look at the Batman figures from McFarlane. And before I begin talking about the figures, I want to really quickly talk about the packaging because I feel like the guys at McFarlane Toys put in a lot of effort, both in artwork, engineering, and design. And I'm going to move these guys out of the way for just a moment, and we'll take a closer look. Here's the box for Batman Detective 1000. You can see there it says Green Lantern and stuff inside. There's some artwork in there. Don't mind the mess because that's where I pulled the stand and the trading card, which we'll talk about in a minute. Batman Detective Comics 1000 right there. There's an image of Batman from that comic book with Joker. Some other figures from the wave. Batman on the side. McFarlane Toys on the top there. 22 points of articulation, or 22 moving parts. 12 plus. So if you're not anywhere between 12 and 14, come back when you're somewhere in that age gap. Multiverse Batman there. You know, legalese and stuff there. And, follow them there and stuff. So, yeah, that's it for that box. And then for the animated series, same thing in the middle there. Well, again, I ripped out the trading card and the stand. On the top there, 22 points, and then 12 plus, and I already gave that speech. DC Multiverse Batman there, Batman the Animated Series there. A picture of Batman from the animated series there, and the other figures from the wave, including an up-and-coming Birds of Prey Harley. So that'd be interesting to see. They did not have that prototype at Toy Fair. And here are your Batman figures from McFarlane Toys, and I have to say I'm super stoked I own them, especially because I love Batman. One of my favorite comic characters ever. Probably my favorite DC Comics character. And honestly, these versions of Batman are representing different points in my life. The animated series came out in 92 or 93. I'm more so leaning toward 92. So I would have been either 12 or 13. And I remember coming home from school and watching it. And I watched and watched and watched every single episode of that series. And it brought us the greatest Batman voice ever in Kevin Conroy. Now for Detective Comics 1000, there are so many names behind this book. Co-written by Scott Snyder. You have artists Jim Lee, Neil Adams, Greg Capullo, James Tynion, Kevin Smith, countless others. Just go to Wikipedia. It's a large list of people that did a co-collab on this version of Batman. And now that we have it in a McFarlane Toys figure form, this is pretty much perfection. So with that being said, now let's take a closer look at the Batman figures from McFarlane Toys. So the first Batman I'm going to talk about in full detail is Batman from Detective Comics 1000. He's mostly a perfect figure. I have a gripe here or there. Nothing terrible. Nothing to say don't ever buy this. Because I have it, I own it, I pose it, I play. He's mostly perfect. So if you see it in stores, pick it up, or else you'll miss out. I have my Batman sporting all the accessories. His grapple gun, his Batarang, and that display base. Okay? First, here's a look at the base. It's the traditional base that we get with all the new McFarlane figures. See, it has the DC logo and a peg, nothing on the back. Next up, the Batarang. It's a hard piece of black plastic molded like a bat. gripe number one. I wish the Batarang was a little thinner. Just a little. It's a little too thick for me. But it's a solid piece of plastic. You're not going to lose this in the carpet. That's for sure. But it works for this figure, okay? And then lastly, the grapple gun. You can see it is a silver plastic. That's supposed to be the gas canister for the hydraulics, for the wire, which this isn't bendy wire. This is just a soft thing of plastic here. And then you have the bat sculpted up there. You know, same on all sides. Nicely sculpted, though. I really do like this. And then lastly, you have the cover image for the comic book. And you see Batman is gripping Joker. And there's that Scarecrow right there. And you got Riddler in the corner. It looks like the Batcave. That's the dinosaur. It's Alfred. So yeah, this is really an awesome piece. And then there's a bio in the background and like a synopsis right there. And I really thought Batman weighed more than 210. So yeah. This was a cool little throwback idea, and I hope they keep this up with the cards. Now, as for the figure, he's mostly perfect, okay? I could say he is a little too tall. He should have been 6 inches, not 7. But Batman's also tall. Was he 6'2", it said on there? Yeah, so Batman's 6'2", according to that card. So the 7-inch frame works. And they sculpted the head really well to the art. So, yeah. Now for the cape, I could be like, oh, the cape should have been cloth. Fine, you could always mod it later. But for a 1999 figure at Target or at GameStop, $10 more, you get your money's worth out of this. He's going to pose properly. He's going to be an awesome figure regardless, and you're going to enjoy it, trust me. But yeah, look at that face sculpt. That is awesome looking. Now, minor gripe, but not really about the figure, more so about the way mine came packaged. The right ear was bent in the plastic clamshell inners or inlay, and it has a minor dent. I tried heating it, didn't really work, but you know what? It's so barely noticeable that I don't care. Okay? So don't let something like that stop you. And the only real gripe I have, I wish he came with default fists, because Batman likes to punch. And as much as he likes to throw, he also likes to punch. And it would have been cool to have fists. Just noting that for hopefully future releases of Batman. So, McFarlane Toys, if you guys are watching, and I know you probably are, default fist next time, and we're good. But yeah, all in all, I love this figure. I think he's super awesome looking. The sculpt work is downright awesome, okay? There's grid work on the legs. There's some sculpt work all around. The bat isn't just painted. It's sculpted in. The belt looks good. The trunks look good. Just everything about this figure is awesome in sculpt. I really love it. These are pliable, so you don't have to worry about, like, being really sharp and pointy and, super dope figure. And I really love the way that face looks. The cape, mine has a smudge. That'll come out. I like the way it's molded to, or sculpted to look like it's draped. And that's really cool. Again, you can see it there. It has that, draped look. And it just looks really good. Now the back of the figure, you can see some more of the mold lines, but for the outfit, it's not like it's a defect. That's just awesome looking. Like, they really did good work with this figure. The utility pouches, yeah, really, really solid. Some light treading at the bottom along with the peg holes. And now let's talk articulation. So Batman falls under the new 22 points of articulation that they started along with the Fortnite figures. And I remember that being one of the first questions I had for the rep at McFarlane Toys last year. And when I heard the news that we're going to have Fortnite-style articulation, I was blown away. And it shows for a guy like Batman, who you need the articulation for. So with that being said, let's talk. The head is on a peg, so you can have him look down that far and be brooding. And you get him look up about that far, so you get that proper grapple gun, you know, needs to see where he's going kind of thing, you know. Looks that way, looks that way. You can have him spin all the way around. And here's a look at that peg. There's a look at the peg, and you can see there, looks, you know, pretty solid. It's a nice looking peg, and plugs right in. Now, real quick, I'm just going to show you, this is actually connected. So if you wanted to try to mod your figure, this is here, and then you can't exactly just put your Batman head on. It'll be shrunken. But the peg there, you see the neck under. So if anybody's going to mod their figure, you have a lot to work with. And then this just plugs back on fairly well, and pretty easy. And then I'll put the head back on. Alright, everything's snapped back in. So the arms can go around all the way, but it's easier if you want to have them in that gliding pose, or, you know, gliding downward. Just reverse that, and then you'll get your full-on functionality, okay? And it can rotate all around. There's a butterfly hinge in there, which is great. He does have an upper bicep cut, which is always awesome in a figure, and it can go out about that far. Right, so you can have your Batman go into some crazy bat-like or Batman-like posing. Looks really cool. Double-jointed elbows, and then nothing at the glove, but you do have that new wrist peg of theirs, which is a hinge and swivel, and it's really nicely done. You have diaphragm, side to side, crunch about there, back about there, so not exactly perfect, but you can make it work. Waist articulation as well, so you could have that, you know, or reverse that. And this is where fists would have been great, just saying. The diaper is a pliable-ish material, well, still a little bit on the hard side, but it's good enough for the kick out, the kick back. That's pretty far. Batman has the split, which is great. And then he has double jointed knees. And then he has really beautiful ankle articulation, up and down, and toe hinge. So those are your points of articulation, and Batman should have that amount of articulation. I just, again, really wish there were fists. But all in all, I give it a rating of like a 4 out of 5. Now let's talk about Batman from the animated series. And here's Batman from the animated series. And I have to say, McFarlane Toys did a spectacular job with this figure. I really do like it. I enjoy it. It is such a great figure. Can we complain? Sure, he's too tall. Blah, blah, blah. Of course we can, because people complain. But you know what? It's fine. You have the right to do that. We're so used to the DC Direct figures, and they're fantastic. okay? But that's the height that we're used to. Now, McFarlane Toys is not DC Direct. He's his own company, okay? McFarlane wanted to do something different with the animated line, and I respect that 100%. Batman scales well with that version of Superman, that version of Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and whatever other animated figure they have coming down the line. Okay? So, it's cool if this Batman's just a little too tall. I don't mind. With that being said, let's take a closer look at his accessories and his articulation and sculpt. So, for accessories, we have that same DC stand, nothing on the back. You have the animated series style grapple gun, which I love this thing, and I'm going to give you guys a closer look as I pull his hand off. So you have that like gunmetal style animated look, the red buttons on the side, and then this right here, the hollow on the inside, the points given that Christmas tree effect that it was drawn out on the show. It looks really, really nice. This does not come out, so don't try it. But yeah, this looks fantastic. He comes with, look at that, a set of default fists. How beautiful, how glorious. I just wish the other version had that. But yeah, these look really cool, nicely sculpted. Really, really, really nice. And they go on fairly well. So here's the hand that, fell off when I was taking the grapple gun out. Make sure I got the proper fist. Alright. So yeah. Looks good, fits good. And then you know what, we're going to take the Batarang out of his hand. That's the other accessory. Again, a little too thick. Just a little bit. And I feel like it's thicker than the other Batarang too. But that's the style of the Batarang that was from the animated series. So that design is perfect. Yeah, it looks really cool. And then again, we get a trading card. There's a clip from the show. Looks really awesome. It's the Batman animated series. Buy right there. Give it to focus. There we go. So yeah, really cool. I like these throwbacks. Again, I really hope they keep this up. Take off the trigger finger. Show you guys both fists. The hands come off really simple, and that's awesome. All right, so that's it on accessories. I'll give you a closer look at the face sculpt. I think this looks awesome. I know some people have complained the eyes are too far back in the cowl, but they really were, though. I mean, the image on the card does not do that justice, but if you go back and watch the animated series, they were super far back in the cowl, especially in the earlier seasons, okay? Trust me, go back and watch it. It's been a long time since I've watched the cartoon, but I've watched it so much that it's on memory, okay? They were that far back. That square jawline of the WB. I'm sorry, Fox, right? Yeah, I believe it was on Fox. And then you got that straight line mouth right there. Or was it WB? Correct me in the liner notes, okay? Because I really don't remember where it aired. The yellow and black bat. And both of these are sculpted, okay? So the black is not just painted onto the yellow. They're both sculpted and then sculpted into the chest. Looks awesome. You got that animation-looking chest where Batman did nothing but chest and arms and skipped out on leg day. Because that's how he was drawn back in the day. So, you can see the abdomen right there. He's so square that I couldn't tell if I had it lined up right. But yes, it's the abdomen. The The cape looks good too. It's that very jet black with that blue look for Batman, as we all know. If you wanted to flip this up, you could, like, do the inside out thing like I showed you with Detective Comics version to give that glide down appearance. And then you can actually see more of the articulation. He too has that butterfly in there. Arms can also go around. Bicep swivel. They go out about that far. He only has a singular cut for the elbow because that's the way the cartoon was drawn. So you have to go by the, sculptor cartoon, blah, 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 right? Which is fine. You can see they're actually ratchet joints, which I think is great. And then hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. Here is the wrist peg. So that's the wrist peg. And then you can see, you can actually hear the ratchet in there too. So these things are really, really awesome. I'm going to put his fist back on and I'll show you the rest. Diaphragm all around. Some side to side, but not much. Waist articulation. This is where I would have liked the fist on the other figure to have that, like, punch. Let's see. So yeah, waist and swivel in the diaphragm here. It doesn't really crunch. Back about that far. He's also a bit heavy on the top because, again, that's the way the animation was. The belt looks really good. Nice sculpt work there as well. The little pouches. Splits that far. Kicks out about there. Kicks back about there. He has double jointed knees, which is always a plus. Nothing at the top of the boot. He does have that up and down. There is some beautiful ankle pivot in here. You just got to really mess with it. Mine's a little bit on the tight side. And he does have toe hinge. So, yeah, that is great. You could get your animated series Batman into a lot of posing, and that is fantastic. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for this review, guys. I hope you guys liked. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You could, of course, follow me on social media. Bri2J Presents on Instagram. Bri_2J on Twitter. Bri2J on Instagram if you just want to follow my regular everyday Instagram. And, of course, you can find this video on Bri2JPresents.com. And I will see you guys in the next one. If I can get this Batman to stand. Peace.
That's crispy.